Hi everybody, Alex Stephenson here with another Innistrad Swiss draft. We opened Scabruinator, which is a pretty good pick, I would say. Otherwise, the Unburial Rites is actually maybe a little bit easier to use, a little less build around than the Scabruinator. Um, so it's really between these two. I'm probably just going to end up going with the Mythic and try and build around him because he is really good. I mean, having to exile 3 creature cards from your graveyard is not easy, but he is so powerful. So if I can pick up enough creatures, I think I can probably safely build around him, and I think I'm going to try and do so. Unburial Rites is really close on this. Just getting 2 more uses out of a creature is really, really good. But I think I'm okay with going with the Scabruinator and just trying to pick up some tools to go with him. Okay, so this pack, we're definitely going to need Deranged Assistant. Not only is he going to put creatures in our graveyard for Scabruinator, but he is a creature himself, and he ramps and stuff. The Blazing Torch is also really good here, but if we plan on playing the Scabruinator, we need to make sure that we have all the tools for him, unfortunately. So, I mean, I could just pick up removal here too, like the Torch or the Phobia, but I may have to go for the Assistant. Um, I suppose I could probably pick up another Assistant. So then the question is, what's better, Claustrophobia and Blazing Torch? And actually, I think Claustrophobia is probably better. Although this is a little more, since it's colorless, um, I could, if there's no more blue being passed, I could just eventually just hide the Ruinator and just go a different direction. Um, for now, I think I'll just play the Claustrophobia. I would really like to try and play and really push to play this Scabruinator. So we'll try and do so. Well, what else is going to be good for getting stuff in our graveyard? Um, I don't know. The best picks in this are the Priest, the Bonds of Faith, the Youth is okay, the Banshee's okay, Battleground Geist is okay. They're all pretty good, I guess. I definitely want to pick up a creature here. I could just pick up the Priest, try for blue-white. Because this would be a good creature to get in your graveyard for your Ruinator eventually. Blue-black is probably a little bit more likely. I think I'm going to take the Banshee, actually. I think blue-black is a little more likely of a something I can do. Um, well, another Goliath and another Stitch Drake. I suppose we can pick up the Stitch Drake, and that's not going to be a big deal. Um, I don't want the Corpse Lunge. I don't really want the Stitch Drake either, honestly, because of the Ruinator. But I need to get some more creatures, and Stitch Drake's really good. I can't get a ton of these lines of creatures, and I really don't feel comfortable playing the Goliath and the Ruinator in the same deck. I think that's just too much requirement I'm putting on my graveyard. So we'll pick up the Stitch Drake. Hopefully pick up some Forbidden Alchemies and some other stuff like that. Moan the Unhallowed over the Selhoff Occultist. The Selhoff is going to be better for our deck, but just on its own, Moan of the Unhallowed is so strong that I think I might just want to make that the pick here. Unfortunately, it doesn't have good interaction with Ruinator or Stitch Drake, but it's just such a strong card. I don't have anything to put in my graveyard yet, though, so I might have to pick up this Occultist. This kind of sucks. Having to pick a slightly weaker card just because it fits a little bit better with the deck. I think I might have to do that. It's only pack 1. I'm going to pick up the Moan of the Unhallowed now. This card is just really powerful. I want to make sure. Getting one of those is really good. I certainly hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the end. Here we'll pick up the Fin Snake, which is a creature that we could possibly play. Well, thankfully we got occultist, so I think we'll just pick that up here. It's good for what we want to do. Hopefully we'll get something something that I can play earlier here. Looks like green is pretty extremely open. I'm just gonna pick up this spidery grasp now. Okay, here, I believe the pick for us is actually the Ghoul Caller's Bell. This is like emergency case. If I don't get enough stuff to put in my graveyard, I may end up playing the Ghoul Caller's Bell just to help with our Scab Ruinator and Stitch Drake. Okay, let's see. Not an enormous fan of the Village Cannibals. I already have the Spidery Grasp. Green appears to be kind of open, so I think I'm actually going to pick up the Grizzled Outcast here. Otherwise, I could actually do the Cellar Door for myself. Yeah, actually, I'll try that. I'll get one of those. Why not? Yeah, green is just, like, really open, so we'll pick up this Grave Bramble. Fourth to last pick, Corpse Lunge. Unfortunately, this is still, I don't think, a Corpse Lunge deck, really. We don't have any early creatures, so I'll pick up the Manor Skeleton. We'll get the Huge Beater. Probably not going to play him. Yeah, we'll pick up a Halberd. It's a little morbid activator for the Banshee, so it's really not that bad. Okay, so far, I mean, we have Ruinator and Banshee, Mona the Unhallowed, and Stitch Drake. All of these cards are really good, as is Claustrophobia. So we did actually get some pretty good picks that first pack. Second pack, what's the plan now? Well, we open Blasphemous Act, which I still think is worthy of splashing, although this kind of deck is not a very like splashy deck because you're putting stuff in your graveyard, which is kind of dangerous. But there is like no real good pick for us here. The Typhoid Rats actually looks like it's probably the best. This is not a deck, I don't think, that wants to play Ghoul Caller's Chant because we want creatures in our graveyard. So it's Blasphemous Act or Typhoid Rats. And I actually think Blasphemous Act is worthy of a splash. A board sweep is usually worthy of a splash, so I'm going to pick that up. Well, interesting. Let's see here. We have Think Twice. We have Morkret Banshee. I think picking up another Banshee seems fine here. I don't see any real problem with picking up another Banshee. Could play the Demon Male Halberd, honestly. Works well with our Ruinator, Stitch Drake, and Banshees now, so that's not that bad of an idea. Yeah, we'll pick up a second Banshee. It's a strong card if you can get the right tools for it. Let's see. Pick up another creature here would be nice, so I think the Juggernaut just looks the strongest. We're planning on putting creatures in our graveyard anyway, so yeah, Juggernaut it is. Good card. Real good card. Okay, what do we have here? Let's see. I think it's pretty much just to think twice. Something to do early, and, yeah, something to do early, because we don't have much of that right now. So, let's start picking up stuff we can do early. Let's see. I believe for us the Interloper looks best. Once again, my tired old theory of we need creatures for Ruinator and Stitch Drake, and Interloper actually just happens to be a good little beater, so I'm happy to pick him up. He's an early drop, he flies, he can die and be put in your graveyard, and yeah, he's good. Okay, what do we have here? Well, since I'm already splashing with the Blasphemous Act, maybe I should pick up the Rage Thrower? Probably not. We don't have any early drops, and this is like definitely a Typhoid Rats deck. We want to drop something early that we're willing to kill off and then bring back as a Stitch Drake or a Scab Ruinator later. So yes, I think Typhoid Rats is best for what we're trying to do here. Um, I really, you know, I don't think I want to pick up another Manor Skeleton. I'm not a huge fan of the card, and I definitely didn't even really want to play the first one I got. So I think I'm just going to pick up the Scarecrow for sideboard use, probably. Okay. Um, I mean, I could think about Dream Twisting myself, but I'm not actually sure that's worth it. Maybe for Ruinator it is, but I like other ways of putting my library in my graveyard, and I still have hopefully uh, I'll get something in pack 3 that'll help a little more with that, because right now Ghoul Caller's Bell and Cellar Door are pretty unimpressive. I guess we have a Cultist too, so at least we have a couple ways to do it. But here, the best, we'll take the Night Terrors probably for the sideboard, in case our opponent has something we can't deal with. Well, we tabled a Typhoid Rat, so yeah, I'm happy to pick that up. That's still good in our deck. I'm gonna stand by that, especially if we end up getting like a sharpened Pitchfork or something. Getting that Death Touch first strike is pretty sick. Little mini glisses. Well, speak of the devil, we got a sharpened Pitchfork, so I'm gonna just pick that up. Works extremely well with Typhoid Rats. Here, I guess I'll pick up the Curse. That's not a card that I feel comfortable playing on myself, even with the Scabruinator. So I probably am not going to play that. Altar's Reap, probably pretty good for us. We've got the Morbid, and we need to fill up our graveyard, so yeah. Um, Neither of these are very interesting. We don't care if our opponent has Paraceline. We don't really care if they have Wooden Stake either, but we'll take it. Take the narrow removal spell. I'm just going to hide some stuff that I'm most likely not main decking, so I don't think I really want to main deck the Scarecrow either, or the Curse for that matter. So we have a decent amount of playables here. Well, okay, so pack 3, we open up a Delver, which is good. A Grasp, which is, I think, just going to be the pick for us. Brainweevil, which actually happens to be really good with Morkrupt Banshee. It's a good turn progression. Turn 4, Brainweevil. Turn 5, make you discard 2, play this, kill your creature on board. Pretty good. But, Grasp of Phantoms, if you're ever ahead on the board, Grasp just ends a game. Just right there. I mean, if you're ahead on the board, time walk you, tack in, possibly time walk you again, and then win. So, Grasp is extremely strong. It helps that we're low on removal too. Right now, all I can see is the Claustrophobia, which is definitely not enough. I guess you can count these and this if I can still afford to splash for the Blasphemous Act. Okay, well, Falcon Wrath Noble or Deranged Assistant. Well, this is definitely well, honestly, I would have said this is just clearly a Deranged Assistant deck, but now that we're on pack 3 and the only things I see are Scabruinator and Stitch Drake that require it, maybe it's not so much Deranged Assistant deck. Maybe I don't need the Deranged Assistant, and I especially don't think I need it when I see a Falcon Wrath Noble, which is just such a strong card. I actually hate passing Geist Honored Monk since that's a really strong card. Um, but Falcon Wrath Noble is extremely strong too, so we're gonna pick that up. You can just win games off the back of a Falcon Wrath Noble so easily. It's that good. So Nephalia Drownyard. It's kind of cool. Um, not bad for us. A nice little tool to get some stuff in our graveyard. But I actually think, once again, since we only have the Ruinator and the Stitch Drake, we don't necessarily need to build just around them now. Victim of Night, I initially really strongly disliked this card, but it usually has one or two targets against every opponent, so it's a pretty important card, and it is removal. So I'm gonna take that over the Abattoir Ghoul. Although we do only have 12 creatures, which is not a lot for our Scabruinator. Um, hmm. I think regardless, I'm just going to take the victim. Now, hopefully pick up some creatures. Well, we could do the Laboratory Maniac if I thought I was going to mill myself out, but I think Sell Off Occultist looks a little more up our alley. Get another 3-drop, one that mills us for the Ruinator and the Stitch Drake. So, pick that little guy up. Interesting. I think we'll just pick up another Interloper here. Get another creature. I'm going to pick that over the Corpse Lunge. We want to up our creature count so we can really maximize the chance of getting that Ruinator out. And Interloper's just good, so there's no problem with that. Here we'll pick up the Apprentice. We actually have the Noble, which is a sick interaction with him, and the Banshee, which is also a sick interaction with him. And he just happens to put creatures in our graveyard, so yes, he is definitely a tool we would like to use. Oh yeah, he works well with Occultist too, I forgot. Here we're going to actually, I think, pick up the Brain Weevil and probably just play it. Probably playing the Brain Weevil over like the Ghoul Caller's Bell and the, where was that other bad card? We're probably the Cellar Door too. I would like to think that I don't have to play Cellar Door. Pick up a second Brain Weevil or a Dream Twist, and I think I'm actually going to pick up a second Brain Weevil. I really like, even though I haven't done it yet, I really like the idea of Brain Weevil plus Morkrut Banshee. I feel like those two are really powerful together. Okay, pick up a third Brain Weevil. I don't think so. I don't see any real reason why I would ever play, what, 3 of them? That's not very likely. So maybe Hysterical Blindness for like sideboard. Second One-Eyed Scarecrow for sideboard, or the Frightful Delusion for sideboard. More likely a second Scarecrow. If we have a opponent that's just got a ton of flyers, I could see that being good. I suppose now we can pick up a, well, Cobbled Wings with Typhoid Rats plus Sharpened Pitchfork. That's a little too much setup for me, but I'm not going to end up playing I guess we'll take Cobbled Wings. I'm not going to play a second. I may not even play the first Manor Skeleton. Really not that impressive of a card. That I can't believe. I cannot believe Skurzdag Cultist made it that far without being picked. I'm not going to play it. I can't afford to play it, but that's interesting nonetheless. I'm actually going to pick up the Maw of the Might here. Good sideboard against like Gavany Township, Kessig Wolf Run, that sort of thing. Dream Twist. Okay, well, we ended up with a Dream Twist, and I don't think we're going to play it. Okay, I'll see what I can make out of this. Okay, well, I built this pretty fast, actually. I just pulled all the cards I wanted right away in, and it turned out to be 23 cards. The mana base is admittedly a little bit sketchy in this deck because of the Blasphemous Act. However, if I ever have a hand that's like a Scab Ruinator and a Blasphemous Act, and there's a full board, that's not bad, because then I'll just, you know, like, also, Blasphemous Act with Falconwrath Noble is also really sick, so I really think this is worthy of a splash, even in a deck like this, where I could potentially mill out my only 2 red sources, but I'm still gonna try it. I am still planning on playing the Brain Weevils, which usually not so good, but I'm very interested in seeing how good it is with Morkrut Banshee, so I'm going to try that out. Removal, it looks like we're looking at the Victim, and then what else have we got? The Claustrophobia, Grasp, and then the Brain Weevil plus Morkrut Banshee. You can kind of count that as removal. I guess just Morkrut Banshee in general. If, you know, Stitcher's Apprentice is another way. I guess I would need like 7 mana to do it, but still, that's cool that it works with Morkrut Banshee. And then the Pitchfork on the Typhoid Rats is also another pretty good little synergy there. So we ended up with 15 creatures, which is probably about the bare minimum you should feel comfortable playing Scab Ruinator in. Yeah, I think this deck actually looks pretty good, so I'm interested in seeing how it does, and I suppose I will see you round one.